And recording.
Oh my God.
Mokshit, you're up.
Okay. Hi everyone. We are Team 7 and we're gonna present the case 7 when beauty costs too much. So the problem that we have is the pure earth is losing money because costs are too high and prices are getting low because of the competition. So outsourcing can fix the problem, but the thing is it breaks the company's core promise. So the scene is we got L'Oreal and Unilever launching competitive products for cheap price, and Asians startups copying it with cheaper ingredients, and they're trying to grow with expansion, but the target audience like Asian consumers are price oriented, and internal systems have rated level 4 maturity. So we have 6 months before payroll failure, and the cost gap versus the competitors is $3.40, and we got 4 quarters of consecutive margin decline. And next we have uh, five structural problems, and each maps to a high leverage opportunity. First, our architecture doesn't match our mission. We can't scale without breaking the brand. So the fix is domestic automation. Second, leadership is misaligned. Vision, finance, and messaging are pulling in different directions. The fix is direct to consumer channel, cleaner economics. And the third problem we got is like we are targeting the wrong market. Uh, the fix is repositioning ourselves as a premium product. Fourth, our governance isn't built for scale. The fix would be ESG grade systems, public audits, and turning the compliance into trust advantage. Finally, the fifth is our IP is exposed. So the fix would be formal data classification and controls to protect the core asset.
Okay, now we'll talk about the three options we had and the one we chose and what the ones we rejected. So let's go first and see the hybrid option. While the hybrid option only moves some ingredients to be outsourced overseas, we rejected this option because it creates a clear trust problem. The case states that 7 out of 10 potential suppliers already fail Pure Earth's own cruelty-free or fair labor standards. And it was even documented that bribery in certification audits was also a case. At this point, the company's vision of being made in the US becomes partially false. The second option, which was full outsourcing, gave the best financial margins, but it completely breaks the original mission of the company, and it creates the exposure of weak transparency, labor concerns, and even animal testing exposure, which again they go against Pure Earth's mission. Finally, the recommendation we chose was to keep the domestic premium strategy. Instead of lowering the standards to compete with price, we argue that we're gonna fight for that ethics and that transparency and become like keep that company mission stable in that sense. Let's move to the next slide. And then this slide we'll talk about how this like while the hybrid models and the full outsourcing models fails Pure Earth's mission. So Pure Earth's mission is beauty without compromise, meaning cruelty-free sourcing, fair labor practices, and authentic US-based production. So the hybrid model fails this test because even partial outsourcing already weakens the integrity of the company's ethical claims. If the supplier already fails labor and cruelty-free standards, the company can no longer be trusted on that base that is doing or working towards the ethics. The full outsourcing breaks this even further. Having the company completely be outsourced does not prevent any type of weak supply chain transparency, and we cannot have no control over unethical production practices. That's why our recommendation was domestic premium repositioning. Instead of changing the mission to fit the market, the company should redesign its operation to support the mission. Our team believed that real competitive advantage was not the low cost of production, but building trust and transparency and verified ethical governance to the customers.
All right, thank you, Felix. Okay, hey everyone. This is David Cho, and it's Cho time. So I'll try my best to explain our recommendation in the way I understand it. Why the domestic premium path? Because we must stop the bleeding without selling out our mission. This path raises prices, cuts costs via automation, and secures financing while keeping every promise Pure Earth has made. It's a three-part engine. So let's look at how it runs in parallel. All right, so we'll be moving on to the three-part plan. So the step one is survival. Between months 0 and 3, we secure bridge financing by targeting ESG funds who specifically want our level 4 governance record. We are also running a backup debt process right now. We aren't waiting on a board vote. Step 2 fixes the economics. From month 3 to 12, we automate our domestic plants. Unit costs drop from over $6 to roughly 5, and capacity nearly doubles. We aren't firing people, we're retaining them. Staying domestic means zero cruelty-free compliance risks. Step 3 captures the margin. We launch a direct-to-consumer channel and raise prices to 8 to 12%. Cutting out retail middlemen captures up to 40% more margin per unit. Will customers pay it? Yes! Exhibit 4 shows 47% of our target market prioritize ethical sourcing. We'll publish quarterly public audits to prove to them we are worth the premium.
All right, so now that we have laid out the plan, let's talk about what could go wrong. So we identified 5 risks. The 2 high ones are financing falling through and the board forcing outsourcing. For financing, we start ESG fund outreach immediately. We're not waiting on a board vote. For the board, we lead with Exhibit 4 data, not a values argument. 68% of Asian consumers are price driven, so outsourcing does not even solve the right problem. Medium risk around the automation and pricing are handled through phased rollouts with a month 6 checkpoint. And the critical risk, formula IP breach, is simple. No vendor touches Pure Earth system, which until data controls are fully in place. Which brings me to the next slide. This is where we get into the how. Before any contract is signed, 5 governance gaps needs to be closed. First, a 4-tier data classification policy. Formula sensitive data never leaves the building. Second, all vendors must meet COVID level 3 and ISO 27001 before any system access. Third, privacy by design architecture for the DTC channel from day 1. Fourth, the CDO and CISO need direct board escalation authority. And finally, CDO signs off on all transparency claims before marketing publishes anything. So these aren't suggestions, they are launch prerequisites.
Thanks, Harsh. My name is Chandra Carr, and I'm going to go over the priorities in sequence of time today. And so our first and most important condition is to start immediately with our securing our bridge financing, as well as our board alignment. Without these things, we cannot move forward. In addition to that, we're going to need to have our price increase in our audit to take over in month 3 through month 9. This will be a staged approach. In the domestic automation, this will be kind of our transference over into whether it's a go or no go. We'll know this early on in month 3, and by month 6, this should be fully mature. And then we'll move to our stage 2 decision making and annual audit as well. And this will be the scaling portion of our phase build. So as we've discussed today, we highly recommend that the board pursue the domestic premium repositioning and reject all of the outsourcing options. This is because we believe that to stay true to our vision, mission, goals, and strategy, we need to stay domestic. And part of that is to continue with our Made in USA claim. We don't want this to be a misleading claim. We want to stick to our values. And we believe that the market shows that our clients will pay for this premium rebranding here in the North American region. We don't believe that this is something that we are able to overcome of betraying our brand, and therefore we believe that this is the best option to take.